Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are cracking open the absolute most legendary heist in human history, the Trojan horse. I mean, we all know the story, right? A towering wooden beast, a deadly secret, and a tactical masterstroke that ended a grueling 10-year siege in literally a single night. But how much of this epic tale actually holds up?
So, you've got to ask yourself, did the most famous horse in history actually exist? Or have we been totally sold a myth? Let's rip away the fiction and dive straight into the hard historical and archaeological evidence.
Section 1. The ultimate ancient deception.
Okay, let's break down the sheer tactical brilliance here. Step 1, you build a massive wooden horse in just 3 days. Step 2, you pack an elite force of your best warriors right inside its belly. Step 3, the rest of the Greek army burns their camp and pretends to just pack up and sail away in defeat. Finally, they leave one guy behind to convince the Trojans that the horse is this sacred, unmissable gift. The reverse psychology? It works flawlessly.
But think about the logistics of this trap for a second. It's mind-boggling. How many guys were actually shoved in there? Later traditions like to say it was exactly 40, but ancient sources fiercely debated this. Was it 50, 23, 30? Just imagine the claustrophobia. You've got dozens of heavily armed men sitting in total, terrifying silence while their enemies are literally pacing right outside, debating whether to burn them alive.
Section 2. Where the legend originated.
Get ready for a massive plot twist. Homer's Iliad, it doesn't even mention the Trojan horse. The epic actually ends before the war is even over. We do get a few passing mentions in the 8th century BC, and a little nod from Euripides in 415 BC. But that cinematic, suspenseful, edge-of-your-seat narrative we all think we know, that didn't even show up until 19 BC, courtesy of the Roman poet Virgil in his Aeneid.
And Virgil really knew how to add that dramatic flair. He details how the desperate warnings from Troy's own citizens were just fatally ignored by the masses. You have the Trojan priest Laocoon furiously warning his people not to trust a Greek gift. He even hurls a spear into the side of the horse. But then, boom, the gods send 2 massive sea serpents to brutally strangle him. And then there's Cassandra, cursed to know the future but never ever be believed, begging them to realize the horse is their downfall. Both are totally ignored, and Troy's doom is sealed.
Section 3. Myth or historical fact.
So, if it wasn't a giant wooden statue, what actually happened? Well, historians and archaeologists have put forward 3 major factual theories to decode the myth. First, dating all the way back to Pausanias in the 2nd century, it was actually a siege engine, like a battering ram draped in damp horse hides to fend off flaming arrows. Second, it was a specific type of Phoenician ship. And third, the whole thing is just a metaphor for a massive natural disaster. Let's look a little closer at these.
Let's start with the naval theory, which is honestly fascinating. In Greek, the word hippos literally translates to horse. But, and this is the key, ancient texts show us that a specific type of Phoenician merchant ship, which had these distinct horsehead decorations on the prow, was also called a hippos. So it's highly probable that Greek soldiers hid inside the hull of a tribute vessel. Over centuries of people playing the ultimate game of telephone, a horse-headed ship was creatively misunderstood as a giant wooden statue. Makes sense, right?
And here's where it gets really cool, because we have the hard, physical evidence to back it up. Check out the seal uncovered at the Palace of Knossos, dating back to 1200 BC. That is right around the time of the actual Trojan War. It clearly depicts a ship with a superimposed horse figure on it. A lot of scholars look at this as the very first representation of the episode, perfectly linking the horse and the ship in the ancient mind.
Then there's the earthquake theory, which is just as wild. Now, we all know Poseidon as the god of the sea, but he was also the god of horses, and crucially, the god of earthquakes. Archaeological digs have proven that the historical city of Troy was devastated by a massive earthquake. So, the Trojan horse might just be a really poetic metaphor for a literal, earth-shattering event that finally brought down those supposedly impenetrable walls.
Section 4. Tracking the ancient art.
What blows my mind is that the visual of the Trojan horse was out there in popular culture way before the famous text locked down all the details. Around 700 BC, we see this Boeotian bronze brooch showing a horse on wheels. Jump to about 675 BC, and you've got a Mykonos relief vase that actually shows the faces of Greek warriors peering out from little square windows on the side of the horse. The core idea of this trick was already going viral in ancient art.
Section 5. A metaphor for the ages.
Flash forward to today, and the Trojan horse isn't just history.
It's a universal metaphor. It defines any strategy that tricks a target into willingly bringing a threat right into their own secure space. You disguise your harmful intent behind this benign, attractive exterior, and then you subvert them from within. It is an absolute psychological masterclass in weaponizing an enemy's own curiosity against them.
And we literally see this exact same ancient tactic playing out thousands of years later in modern cybersecurity. Think about it. A computer Trojan is just a malicious program disguising itself as completely legitimate software. Just like the Trojans enthusiastically opening their gates to a sacred gift, a modern user willingly downloads the program, bypasses their own firewalls, and invites the enemy right into their digital citadel. The technology changed, sure, but human vulnerability, that remains exactly the same.
Which brings us right back to that chilling, immortal warning from Virgil's Aeneid, "I fear Greeks, even those bearing gifts." As we look back at the legendary Trojan horse, whether it was a wooden statue, a Phoenician ship, or a catastrophic earthquake, we really have to ask ourselves, in our own lives, our businesses, our societies, what seemingly beautiful gifts are we currently rolling straight through our own secure gates?